What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast, episode 77. Got another Spring Thunder episode for you this week. I saw Victor at the Indy Expo a couple weekends ago, and I told him I'd get him on to talk some turkeys with him. But what's going on, man?
Good. How are you, brother?
Good. I'm surviving down here in the man cave. My little man's got the bad flu right now, so I'm trying to stay as far away from that as possible.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like at one point I had my other full-time job before I retired, so I was in contact with a lot of people. My wife taught at one school, and our older kids went to another school, and it seemed like if it was going around, we got it because it's like I was all over the state of Indiana, two schools coming in, and then we would all come together at the house that night and share it all.
Yeah, it's kind of how we are too.
Oh, now
My
we're down
wife,
to me.
right? My wife works at a hospital. My
Oh,
kiddo has school and sports this past weekend, Saturday
oh
and
man.
Sunday, and just being around other people. I haven't got it yet, thank God. But I'm trying to bank those hours at work, getting ready for spring turkey coming up, so I don't want to miss a lick of work.
Did you get sick from the Indiana show? Because the show sicknesses are always a big talk of the after the show season.
No, I didn't.
NWTF. Did you get the NWTF bug? Did you get the ATA bug? Did you get the?
Right.
Ah,
Yeah. So what'd you think of the Indie Expo as somebody that you didn't have to run any booths or anything this year? You
well,
got to walk around. What was that like
that,
compared to actually
that's
working it?
first time in probably 10 years that I've gone to that show and not had to work it for a company. And it's for me, I enjoy that kind of show. But the real reason, I mean, the reasons for going this time, I mean, I had people to see. I knew what was going to be there. I knew I was going to stop by your booth that you were working.
Hmm.
I was going to go to Zach Bowling's at the Boontown e-bikes and Seed, and so I was going to stop by Triple O booth. But it was good. I mean, I think it's a decent show. I mean, I'm spoiled. I get to go to ATA every year. I go to NWTF, and I know we'll talk about that later. But NWTF will blow your ever living mind. But for me, it's like I'm from Michigan, but I'm an Indiana boy now. I live in Indiana. I've been here for 17 years and 18 years, and I'm just I love Indiana, and that to me is just a cool representation of our state and just things we got going on. And it's a decent show. I know people complain about it, but I mean, what? Come on, I mean, it's a good show. I like it. They have pretty decent seminars, and there's some great vendors there. I mean, this year was probably one of the better years for vendors. So yeah, I thought it was a good show. I don't stay a whole long time. I get a couple of laps in, and we were, I told my boys, we'll be in and out of here. We got there right around noon. I said we'll be done by 2, and we left there. We left the floor at 4:30. He's like, well, if you didn't know so many people and you didn't stop and talk to everybody, we would have got out of here. He's not a social bug,
Right.
Anton. But he had a good time. We enjoyed the show. Really enjoyed those. I've already got my broadheads on my arrows, and
That's awesome. I got
I'll
your
get
other inserts.
yeah, I'll get those one day. And at the very least, I'll get them in Michigan when we meet up. We live in the same county. We live probably 10 miles from each other, and now I'll stop by and get those someday when
Yeah, no
everybody's
problem.
done being sick. But yeah, I enjoyed those exact archery broadheads. It takes a lot to impress me with a broadhead. I was pretty impressed with the design, and if they fly like these guys said, oof, they might have a lifelong customer. And it's hard to pull me. It's hard to impress me with a broadhead.
Yeah,
So
I've talked about that before. It's so hard to get people to want to switch or consider switching. And I was very hesitant to switch myself. When he said, I'll send you a package of these for free. Just try them out for me and let me know how they do."
yeah,
That's exactly what I did. As soon as I got them, opened them up, started flinging arrows, and realized, oh wow, these fly great. I shot the first buck I ended up shooting with that. I shot him at 47 yards, and I was comfortable shooting that far, knowing that my arrow was going to fly the way I wanted it to.
yeah. I well this bird here, that bird right there is that's my first archery turkey.
Mm-hmm.
and I shot that probably about 7 years ago here in Indiana, in a no firearm in city limits place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a crazy story how that all happened. I was actually there filming another guy who there were some other gobblers there, and he said, "Bring your bow. I'm going to bring my crossbow." And you'll have to dig it up. It's episode 2 or season 2 of like Crimson Trail.
I'll check that out for
It's a
sure.
good one. It's the picture that I sent you. Those were
Yeah.
the clothes I was wearing with the police shirt and everything in the blind, and I ended up shooting that bird. And it has 3 beards, and I just was like, I don't have all this money right now to just throw it, but I want a full body mount turkey. And so I called my taxidermist over in Liberty, and he's like, "Oh yeah, get him here now." So he breasted him out for me, and I left with the breast meat, and he mounted my turkey. So yeah, triple beard. I think he weighed 24 pounds. I know
Wow.
your last podcast. You got to talk about them 17 to 21 pound birds,
Mm-hmm.
bro. You have never. You need to go up to New England. I lived in Maine for 7 years. That's where I learned how to turkey hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And um, a full bull. If you got a tom that was 20 pounds, 21 pounds. Now things may have changed since then. This was early 2000. Um, you were like, whoa, that was awesome. They were excited. I didn't know. I didn't have anything to compare it to. And then I moved to Indiana, and I lived and worked a lot in the Fayette County area. And
Mm-hmm.
I walk into this hunting shop down there, archery shop. It's not open anymore. Remboos, and they had all these Polaroid pictures of all the harvest. And I moved here in like the first week of June of 2006, and there was like all these pictures of all these turkeys that have been, and they put the pounds on there, and they put the millimeters of the spurs. And I'm looking at Jake's that weighed 19 pounds,
Yeah.
and dudes had like 28-pound birds, and I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, I mean, it's like I've killed some big birds in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest bird I killed was in our county, the first bird killed in our county, and he weighed 26 pounds.
That's
So
insane.
I mean, like that was a butterball. That was a
Yeah.
big turkey. So for me, it was like these little birds in Maine that I thought were decent. I mean, I know, and then I come here and I'm like shooting 20. I What was it? One of my first kids shot a turkey here. It was Antone, and his first turkey was a Jake, and it weighed 19 pounds.
That's insane.
It was a Jake, and he was with 5 other Jakes. I mean, it wasn't like a bird that had dry rot. I mean, and he had the little Jake nubs, so he had no spurs. But yeah, it was 19 and some change. A Jake. Oh man,
Yeah, that's crazy. I've
dude,
had just I don't know. And it's not that area that I've been to in Indiana. Like you said, when you're talking on your live today, where we live, there just really isn't that many turkeys. I mean, there's some flocks here and there.
your neck of our county is probably the well, and I'll tell you what. There's two necks, and it's all on in one area.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I live. I live around the interstate, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's been turkeys around here, not right at my front door, but I have yet still to see a turkey, and I have to look at fields, but the Blue River is where they're all at. Um,
Absolutely.
and when I shot that turkey in 2000, and I want to say it was in 2009, it was the first year Indiana. When I moved here, there were like 6 or 7 counties that were closed to turkey hunting still,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and now there's none. They're all open to turkey hunting. And I had a buddy that I knew that had never turkey hunted, and I was like, "Well, bro, come on down to my spot." And his property was actually right there in Knightstown,
Mm-hmm.
and it was his uncle's property. And he goes, "I know there's turkeys here, but I'm like, really, I got a property. It was in Wayne County, Fayette County border, and he shot his first turkey. Like 3 days later, a guy calls me up and he's like, "Hey," he goes, "where you at?" And I'm like, "I'm working, and I was driving around doing my thing." And he's like, I'm doing the food plot right now. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes, "They're in the woods gobbling." And he'd done shot his tag, on one of my properties. And he goes, "You need to come out here and shoot one of these turkeys." And I'm like, "If you mean it, say it. If you don't mean it, like, I mean, just say, I don't mean it. I'm just joking. I can't bring you out here or whatever." I'm like, "But if you mean it, I will come and I will shoot one of your turkeys." He's like, "No, seriously, come out here." And so I brought him out there, handed him a camera. He never really turkey hunted that much. And he kind of got lucky with the turkey he shot. It was a Jake. But he didn't get any of the real, like, he didn't understand how good their eyesight was.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting along this woods, and it's, we had 2 hours of light, and we're talking, and I had a little blind up in front of us or something to block, movement. And I'm like, here's the camera, here's what you do with it. Hit record and just don't move that much. Well, he got excited, and we're sitting there talking. I look over, I'm like, bro, right here, right here, right here, right here. And he just swings that camera around, and what those two, there was two gobblers, two longbeards, and they were gone. I'm like, shoot. Oh, dude. So I go, I mean, what do you do? I said, I knew he was laid off, and I had a very flexible schedule the next day. I said, what are you doing in the morning? You want to come back in the morning? And I'm like, yep. We're going to set a blind up down here at the bottom of this little hill. We're going to sit right over this little open ground that you just opened up for your food plot. And I said, we're going to put some decoys out and be ready. So we showed up the next morning, and we get the blind up. I mean, got there, blind up, two decoys out, and it was just fresh, like, maybe 50 yards by 50 yards, a little place in this open pasture that he had, or it was surrounded by woods, really, and a fence line. And he had he was planting a food plot. And I knew those birds were going to be there. They're going to come in there. And I didn't hear a single gobble. I just looked up right at, like at fly down, and I see two white heads standing at the top of the hill about 100 yards from us. And I go, here they come, buddy. Hit the record button and just stay on the turkeys. And they just couldn't, they were beating each other up 3/4 strut, just running down the hill, just running, pounding on each other. Who was going to get to? So you think about this: these turkeys had never. And I don't have no shame in saying this. These two gobblers had never seen a decoy. They had never had anybody call to them because that county had never been open. And I mean, it was just like the first one in, I just laid him out and got it on film. And I talked to my buddy. He's retired. He was a CO now. And he said that I said, tell me what's Henry County got for checked in turkeys, because I might be the first bird. Turns out I wasn't the first bird. There was a bearded hen that would already checked in. And then there was one after me that was questionable. I think the guy jacked it and it got taken from him. But so I was the first legal Tom Longbeard that was shot in Henry County. And I've never hunted Henry County another day since that moment. And he lost that property. They sold it. And I know the guy who owns it now. And you would know who he was if I said his name, but I won't. And great dude. And he said he just doesn't see the turkeys out there anymore. But that was the original place, other side of the fence from where I shot that bird, like literally like 100 yards was the fence. On the other side of that fence, the CO told me that, my CO buddy told me that is where they released the original birds to help try to get the birds integrated back into Henry County. They released them right there, and it was like, I forget the exact numbers, but they released some extra toms in that group, and it was, I think, 12 to 15 years prior to that open season. And that's what they needed that flock to do, was just grow, 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 grow. They lost quite a few of those birds. There was in the 20s, 20 to 25 to 30 birds. I think they ended up releasing their hens and toms. That they lost a bunch of birds that they were documented trying to fly over I-70. The Blue River,
right there.
Exactly where I'm talking.
Yeah.
And all through that area, that like within that year, they lost 4 or 5 birds like immediately, because they just followed they followed that river system right up. So that brings me to this: the other side of the county, up in the Blue River area, it goes like I had friends back in like 2009 or 10 that lived up near the prison up on the north side of and they were seeing turkeys up there. They were hearing them gobbling around Memorial Park in Newcastle. So, and then just the Blue River. You wouldn't see them very off of that. And then my wife used to teach at Blue River, and one day she said, "Hey, I just saw a turkey go across the road. It had one of them long things coming off of its chest." And I said, "A beard, a tom." And she was like on her way to school, so just at sunrise. So it was just right in that neck of the woods, and it ran right across 36 north towards. And I know now they see them all up around Summit Lake, but
yeah, for sure.
I've seen a flock up there, but they stayed on that river. They didn't vary off of that very much. We just don't have the county, man. We just, I need it. I have to travel for birds. And as passionate as you are about turkey hunting, we have to travel for birds, unless you're one of those lucky guys living over there in the town area by the Blue River, and you've got your little hot spot over there that you ain't telling anybody about.
I've never even turkey hunted in Henry
Never,
County.
no, and
Never.
it's one of those things that the people who do have the birds, they know it, and they just don't want anybody hunting them, or they keep them to themselves, which is fine.
But that may change this year. Just we got a little spot that Adam did some shed hunting Monday when the weather was nice and saw several birds. But there is somebody that's going to be chasing these birds, and I don't really want to get in their way because they have a lot of legal power around me. So I'm just going to let them do their own thing. I already have a bunch of trips planned and all that. But if the opportunity presents itself where they may cross a road somewhere, I got plenty of trail cameras that's going to show me that they're there. So
well, and that's just the thing about these birds is they will roam a little bit, So there's a chance. I have a neighbor. I have a guy that lives on the other side of my little town here in New Lisbon, and he's like, "Oh, we got turkeys over here," and I'm like, "Man, I ain't never seen no turkeys around here." And I see the woods, and I'm like, one time they may have seen a flock of turkeys. In the early 2000s, like 2008, 9 or 10. Well, it was 9 or 10. I traveled through this area before I moved to this town a lot, and I saw a dead turkey at the interstate where you would get on or off of my exit. And that was a while ago. And that made me kind of go, okay, well, they're around, but they roam. And I talk to people and I ask them. And if you get between me and Newcastle, there's no birds. Right. But if you start heading west of me or east of me, you're starting to get into Wayne County, because I only live a mile and a half from Wayne County. So,
right.
I mean, you're starting to get into that terrain where it's starting to hold some turkeys north and south of 70. They're there, but I'm just in that little pocket where, I feel like I put enough effort in to try to hunt as local as I could, but it never works. I mean, the closest I've really gotten besides that hunt is Fayette County or Wayne County, and that's fine. I don't mind traveling a little bit. At one point, I mean, honestly, when I first moved here, first thing I said, I had gotten so addicted to turkey hunting in Maine, and that sounds weird in a New England state, but yes, Maine, the coast of Maine.
I've seen a bunch on that.
And I said, where do I turkey hunt? And these guys were looking at me like, what? And like, well, you're going to have to go to Brookville. So I ended up going to Brookville, and I hunted Brookville for 3 or 4 years before I finally got with some guys and started hunting Fayette County a little bit more and then turkey hunting. And I still to this day will I'm going to go back to Brookville and I'm going to kill a bird. That's how I got close a few times, and those were tough birds. I had birds
absolutely.
coming into decoys and then people walking in and busting my set. Like, what do you do? It's public land. I mean, and I was frustrated, but I mean, hey, they didn't know that they were coming in on a guy turkey hunting. I called some guys one morning turkey hunting up there. I called and called and called. This bird never stopped gobbling. And I was just really, and I don't consider myself a professional turkey hunter by any means, but I was fresh. I mean, I was still, kind of a virgin to it. And when I first moved here and I realized, here it is 8 o'clock in the morning and that bird's not moved. There were people all around him, calling, and he just stayed roosted. He never came down, and then
I've had the same experience at Brookville. I had this bird. He hammered, but he, like you said, he never moved. Hell, I thought he was gone, and I got up and made my way down a power line and hit a crow call, and he was still in the tree. Hell, he was only 80 yards, but there's no way I could have got to him.
He was sitting up there watching everything go on, and he was like, all right, he's gone. All right, he's gone, and, and I didn't know, and, and you get excited, you hear a gobble, and and I overcalled, and I mean, I was part of the problem, I mean, I was just ripping it, but, one day I'll go back there. I got a couple little spots still that, I like, there's got to still be some birds there. I'm gonna have to go back down there, and now I got a little bit more knowledge in me, so
There's some good turkey hunting in Brookville. Last year for the youth weekend, we killed back-to-back days. The first morning was on private, just outside of the public, and then that we had permission on. And then the next day we actually killed one on public there, both Adams boys. And I hadn't really hunted that section of Brookville. He was like, this is where we're going to go. I've had experiences here. So I went with him, and it was actually not even close to where I'd normally chased them at. And we ended up killing one. And there was like, hopefully I'm not blowing that place out, but there was a good number of birds there.
Oh yeah, I had a spot that I thought I had gotten. This was 2006. This would have been 2007, my first year there, and I thought, oh, I got the spot. I found it. I mean, I was going in there like February, March, driving around. Had my oldest boy, who's 29 now, and he had killed a turkey in Maine as a youth, and so I was trying to drag him along. He was excited about it. And we figured this place out, and you get back in there, like there's no signage, but then we figured it out on a map. And this was before smartphones and mapping systems like like HuntWise and such, and Onyx and everything. So I was just using a map, and I'm looking, and I had a map of the actual, from Brookville for the park, and I'm like, this road right here, and then I'm like, there's not going to be anybody back here. Like the first time we went there, turkeys in the field. So we're like, okay, walked it. It was easy to access. Now that I have an e-bike, I would e-bike that, and nobody would be able to touch me. Because what I found myself doing is when I started those years I hunted there, I would finally, after all my frustrations, I would walk until I stopped seeing people's breakfast trash. And I hate to say that, and nothing pisses me off more in the woods than people just dropping their trash, like it was the Speedway cup from your coffee, your wrapper from your granola. Like it was like the dude was walking, eat, throw it down, eat, down with the granola bar, throw it. And I'm like, come on. When I would go another 100 yards after my last trash, and then I would hunt. And if I had now with an e-bike, man, they wouldn't even touch me in that place, because you could go 3 or 4 miles in the trails where I was at, all the way down to the lake, and then up, and then the fields, and we go there. And I got called out on a call out the night before. It was a 24-hour emergency call out thing. I was pissed. Like, it's the night before opening turkey season, my first morning to hunt Indiana opener as a resident, and I'm just like, oh, I was ticked the whole night. I didn't get home that morning. That started the day before around noon, and I got home like at 8 or 10 o'clock in the morning. It was before noon, but I was like trashed, and I was angry. So I took the next day off, slept in, and then the next day I went out there, and I thought, I'm not going to see a soul out here. And I went out there, and there was 2 campers. Like I counted 15 or 18 cars in the parking lot. And I'm like,
oh wow!
Oh, I thought I was the only guy, and nope.
It never works out that way.
Other people thought they were the only guy too, like 25 other people. So good time. But
so
sorry.
No, you're fine. So you talked about getting into turkey hunting up in Maine. How exactly did somebody get you into it, or did you just kind of fall into it?
So back up another 20 years. I grew up in Michigan, Southwest Michigan. I grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Love deer hunting. I grew up in a time where we had to take hunter safety, and you couldn't take it until you turned 12. You couldn't hunt until you were 12. Then they don't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. That was, to me, I don't know what that archaic law was all about, but my kids have been in the woods with me since they were 2 or 3 years old. Serious hunting by 5. Mm-hmm. And if they liked it, great. I went with my dad and I deer hunted, but I would sit with him and I would watch him hunt, and it was cool just that time. But I didn't actually get to hunt until I was 12. So I can remember one time walking in the woods, and I got that by myself, and it was night. My dad was probably 100 yards from me, but I walked the trail in by myself. I was 12 or 13 then, and something above me in the dark took off. Now that I think, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. I think I even fell to my knees on that one, and it was just a tote road that went through the woods, and it was through some pines. Well, now that I look back at that, I vividly remember this. It was probably a turkey, but we didn't see turkeys in fields. We didn't see turkeys strutting. We didn't have a season to hunt turkeys. Now, fast forward to 1999, I moved to the state of Maine. I had a job out there that offered, and I go out there, and I'm coming home, for the summer or for a week or whatever, and I'm driving, and I'm seeing dead turkeys all over the roads, all over the Interstate 94, coming in Michigan. I'm like, what's going on in Michigan? Like, we got turkeys now. They're like, oh yeah. My dad was like, oh yeah, there's turkeys everywhere now. There's a season, and like I'm like, whoa, and I'm just getting into it up there. So I get out to Maine, and Maine's a different state. I love the state of Maine, but I never thought. I mean, I'm thinking moose. I'm thinking, whitetails, and Maine is just gorgeous. I lived on the coast, and the town that I lived in, Camden, Maine. It said their motto was where the mountains meet the sea. So the Smoky Mountains and the Blue Ridge, they came down to the ocean at my town, and it was just gorgeous. And it's part of the whole state park system up there, and Bar Harbor and all of that, and so I don't think of Maine. I think of lobsters and moose and,
Right.
and all this. Turkeys everywhere. It was their biggest success story for their DNR and their biologists was the planting of turkeys. Well, they were cautious about it the first 4 years. So I run into this guy. I go, so now you go into a new state. I'm searching out. I find, where's the archery shop at? Where's the hunting shop? And it was a gas station hunting shop. And this guy, his name was Jim Favreau, and Jim, um, he really was pushed it, and he figured we just talking to the guy over the year or over the months there. He's like, "You really like the video stuff, don't you?" And I was just kind of starting to get into videoing, and he goes, "Watch some of my videos." Well, and this is how long ago it was. He handed me a bunch of VHS tapes, and I brought them home, and I'm like, "Oh, that's like you were doing that. Like, where's this going on the air?" And he was on local cable there in Augusta, Maine, and I'm like, "Dude, this is awesome." And so, you know, like what in the world? So now I connect now with these guys that film their hunts, and I was just kind of playing around with it, and he's like, I'm starting this team, and I want you to be a part of it. And it was called Predator Outdoors, and it was all Maine hunters, only just in Maine, even though they were coming out to the west. They said the west. They were coming out to Ohio and Illinois. I'm like, bro, when you say west, I'm thinking like Montana, Colorado, not west, like that. So they turkey hunted like crazy. Well, it was still a draw system there. You had to get drawn. I lived there for 7 years. I only the first 4.5 years, actually into my fifth year there, I never got drawn for a turkey tag. So guess what I was? I was the cameraman for everybody who did get drawn. So I didn't care. I love filming stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love filming animals, and especially when they're getting shot, and and so my first hunt filming with these guys was a turkey hunt. It was a youth turkey hunt, and we're sitting in a double bull blind in the middle of the woods in Maine, and I just and the light comes up, and the woods is coming awake, and we heard some distant gobbling coming, and Jim was a good turkey hunter. He's calling, and this youth is just excited, and I'm right behind him, just literally peeing down my pants, like my leg is soaking wet. I'm so excited, and this bird is still pretty far away. And all of a sudden, shook the blind. We didn't, so there was a bird coming in behind us. We couldn't see. We didn't even know. And then he's
Oh, I
spitting and
love it.
drumming, and you felt it like that. The bird was within 10 yards of us, behind us, and all I heard was that gobble. Brett, I have been addicted to turkey hunting ever since then. That was my first experience turkey hunting. Was filming a youth hunt in the state of Maine. I have been addicted to turkey hunting ever since that adrenaline rush of that bird gobbling, and we didn't even see it. He never came around in front of us.
Oh
Kid shot,
really?
kid shot a Jake an hour or two later, and these
Th-
guys now this team of guys, they weren't shooting them with shotguns, bro. They were bow hunting them, and
That
I'm
had to
like,
be ahead of its time almost.
you guys are freaking nuts, and I love it because I'm nuts too. Let's do this thing. And I
Right.
think we had one guy in the team that would shotgun them or whatever. But man, there were 10 of us, and if you weren't bow hunting them, you could do it. There were tons of birds up there. I was didn't know I was going to be moving back to the Midwest, but fast forward to 2004, I I got drawn. And no, they opened the season. I never did get drawn. They opened the season, open season. So my son Isaac, who's like I said, he's 29. He'll be 30 this year. He was 10 years old. So that was 19, 20 years ago. We go to one of our spots, and now, granted, I have filmed a lot of turkey hunts now, learning by just other people's mistakes or just what they did right, and watching and paying attention. And he shoots a bird. Now, let me tell you this about New England, especially Maine. Maine goes out into the down east, and it's out into the ocean. It's a different place. It's like another country up there.
Hmm.
The sun rises up there in the springtime. First light, 4:45 a.m. First light. You're shooting birds at 4:45 a.m. In the Midwest, we're just waking up and getting out of bed and gonna be getting our coffee at like 6, and like 4:45. So we hunted a 45 to an hour drive away. So you're getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go turkey hunting. You were committed. We could only hunt till noon. So that was a good thing. I'm so glad they didn't have all day hunting there, because not be for whatever religious purposes they had that law in there, but it was because like it was like there was no hunting on Sundays and you could only hunt till noon. Like I was glad for that because it was wearing me out. 4:45. I've got the footage. I was looking at it the other day. I did a video or something, and I was pulling out some. I went into my archives. 4:40. It's at four. It was like 4:51, and we were filming this bird like 100 yards. You could film him strutting in the tree and gobbling at 4:45 in the morning, and it was like first light here, daylight, twilight. It was crazy, and he shot his first turkey, and I'm excited. I'm pumped. The guy that was filming us, Brett Jones, I'm like, dude, freaking hype. I mean, just like I was just now. I filmed all these other people kill turkeys, and I just filmed my son shoot his first big game animal, and it was a wild turkey. I thought I couldn't get any better, and then that happened, and I've just been chasing that high ever since then. It's like Ted Nugent, I don't need drugs to get high. You know what? I'm the same way, man. I don't need that. I don't, me. I don't drink a lot. And I'm just like, I just, that high for me is that bird gobbling behind my, blind when I was filming that kid in probably 2000, maybe 2001, and then my boy kills that bird, and then we're doing this hero interview stuff because we're filming now. We're doing this professionally, and we were doing a decent job. I learned from some great guys, and I looked at my son and I was like, "You've killed a turkey before your dad. I haven't even killed a turkey yet. Nobody in my family had ever killed a turkey. In my dad's side of the family, my mom's from Alabama. They'd killed turkeys in the 20s and 30s. They were killing turkeys down there, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness. And so the next week the adult season opened up. The next week I shot my first turkey. But before I shot that turkey, I had missed a couple with my bow because I get excited. And I wasn't going to be that guy who was out there with my crew, the Predator Outdoors guys, and was out there with a shotgun cheating. Nope, I had the bow, and I was just like flinging 10-yard, 15-yard shots. I'm just freaking out, and I'm just jumping the trigger, punching the trigger, shooting them in the wrong spot when they're all strutting. It was just a nut house. And I went to a store there, and I was like, I don't have a shotgun to kill a turkey. I need a shotgun. I got $400 cash. Guy walks back behind the counter, goes back, and comes out, and he lays this box on the table, and it said Benelli on it. And I said 400, not $4,000. And he goes, no, this is the Benelli Nova. It's $329 retail. And I'm like, what? I got a Benelli for three. I'll take it. I still have that shotgun. That's the only shotgun I kill turkeys with. And it's like, then I went out the next morning and I shot a turkey.
That's awesome.
And I was like, now, I don't know what you guys, I want to kill one with my bow, but killing one with a shotgun is pretty exciting too.
Absolutely. There's something about it. I've chased birds with my bow. I haven't been able to get that under my belt yet. I tried last year in West Virginia. Kind of what you were talking about. He was full strut. I missed my mark just a little bit, thinking I was going to hit something. It was basically all feather and fat that I hit.
Yep.
But there's something about just smashing one with a shotgun. That's so much fun, especially when they're close.
And you can get it done. It just, I don't know. That was like, those were some of the highlights that really primed the pump for me. But that was always in the back of my head was still that I want to kill one with my bow. because I had missed, and it was just you just want to conquer something, and but I was in the state then you could only kill one bird. I think you can kill two up there now, and of course the hunting has changed because now those birds are pressured. People weren't really turkey hunting that heavy back then. We could just go to so a weird thing about Maine and new parts of New England is it's called reverse posting. So if I go up there and it's just tradition law, unwritten rules of tradition that are passed down. If you do not want people on your property, you have to post it. If you do not post your property, people can go on your property and hunt.
That's crazy.
And that was weird getting used to that for me. So, but I have really a lot of property to hunt. One of my biggest birds that I shot up there, I was already packing to move, and it was spring. I moved here Memorial Day weekend, and our season there we had A's and B seasons and weird seasons, and we were hunting into May. And I shot that bird. I worked second shift then at my department, and I would drive the roads and I would look for turkeys. It didn't matter. I was just, there's birds, and nope, that property's not posted. Boom, I'd just go after them, and that's what happened. Hunting was done at noon, and it was like I had to be to work at 1:30, and I was driving around, and it was like getting to be 11:15, and I saw that bird, and I got in the woods and I called him in and I shot him, and it was like noon. I'm breasting out a bird and taking care of the meat and and I had a buddy that I worked with. He's like, I shot a turkey, come take some pictures for me. He didn't live far from me, and I just shot a bird, I'm breasting it out. We did some hero shots together, and then we worked together that night, and we were on cloud nine. But and then I moved to Indiana, and I wanted to bring that with me. So Brookville was where I started, and and now here I am. And I know where you're going. You're going to Tennessee for the first time this year, bro. Let me tell you something. I had no idea what I was getting into 5 years ago when I first went to Tennessee, and man, it will. And I was there when you could kill 4 birds still. I went there in 2020, and you know what was going on in this world in 2020. Yeah. People are like, can I leave the state? Can I drive across the state lines? And I'm like, I don't care. Well, I'm driving to Tennessee. That's period. I'm going to Tennessee. I got my buddy that I was hunting with. He's like, just come down. Now, he did say, don't bring anybody with you, because I was going to bring somebody that was going to film for me. I think I was going to bring Ron Howard, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. I don't know if I knew Ron then or not. Yeah, I guess I did. I did know Ron, but I didn't know him real well. That was the first year I had met Ron. I was bringing somebody with me. I was going to try to. And he was just like, just come by yourself. And I'm like, I'm cool with that, man. If you're letting me hunt all these properties, Scott, we're going to hunt together. I shot, that was when I got my second bow. And I said, can we kill him with a bow? And he's like, we're headshot or bust. And I'm like, okay, headshot or bust. And the next morning I shot a gobbler with my bow, dropped in the decoys with my bow. That's awesome. You could only kill one. You can still only kill one a day.
Right.
2 turkeys now, but it's only one a day. So now I'm on to the next guy. The next morning, same spot. And when there were 7 or 8 gobblers on this farm, nothing. And then we went back that night, and I shot my second gobbler 2 days in a row. My second gobbler with a bow. I got lucky on that one. Both of them were headshots, and I did get lucky on that one. I don't know what season those played on, 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4, and I shot that probably season 3, and I shot that turkey. I'm just like, what in the world? The next day, I'm like, bro, I want to film you kill something, man. Like, I'm not gonna kill all those turkeys. He's like, man, I could hunt until like almost June or May, late May. He goes, I don't care. And I'm like, let's film you. And we filmed the mountain bird, and he was trying that headshot or bust. And that turkey came down quiet we weren't at the top. We were like on the first good shelf. So we were probably, we weren't that high, but I mean, we were in the mountains. We were on the first good shelf, and there were 2 more above us. He came down from the shelf above us, quiet, strutting. Came in. He was at 5 yards, and that guy missed. He shot and missed him. Missed that turkey. Tried to shoot him in the head. And I'm like, oh, that dude. I could see his spurs, man. They were like our Michigan birds. They was 1.5 inch spurs. Oh, wow. And those mountain birds don't get those spurs like that because they're on the rocks and stuff up there.
Right.
And then the next day he's like, no, you just hunt this day. It was my last day, and I shot one with the shotgun. I didn't want to be a bow hog, but those are my 3 bow kills with the turkeys. And I'm telling you, it is a rush. It's a different kind of a rush.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about it is you got to kind of sit in the blind.
Yeah, that's the one
Um,
thing I don't like about it
and
either.
if you're limited, and you got the opportunity to kill multiple birds, give it a shot.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, that was the only other thing. If I'm in a one state bird state, I'm like, I just want to kill a bird. Let's get this done. I just want to kill a bird.
Right.
But yeah, in Tennessee, man, it'll light you up. My buddy, I got another buddy that I met through this other guy, and me and Ron went down there 2 years ago, and we just had a ball. I had my first reap, um, and then we went breasted that bird and put it in the cooler. And that afternoon, me and Ron were heading back home, heading back north, and I'm supposed to go. I saw him at WTF, and he just begging me to come. So I'm gonna probably end up back down there the opening weekend. But now, when I was hunting there 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, their season was a lot earlier. The one year we were opening day was March 31st.
Yeah, right around like the Easter
Yes,
weekend.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was easier for me to do that then. And now it's like into the middle of April,
Yeah.
and so that's the biggest thing that's kept me away from it. But I'm gonna probably go. They open up their adult season opens up that weekend of the 13th, and
Yep, I'll be
I'll
there.
probably go down there for the weekend. And
You'll have to get a hold of me because we're kind of. It's nothing like Michigan. I don't really know anybody else besides Dylan that I'm going to hunt with,
mhm.
but he's having kind of some buddies like, if you kill a bird, come over. We're having a bonfire. He's wanting to get some pictures and do that sort of thing. But Tennessee has always been on that bucket list for me. I'm the kind of guy I want to kill one in every state. I'm
Yeah,
that passionate about turkey hunting. I want to chasing 49 kind of deal. I want to kill one
yeah.
everywhere. And Tennessee, I can't remember where I saw it on social media somewhere. It might have been during the NWTF convention. Somebody was asking people, "What's your favorite state to turkey hunt?" And they were asking all these different celebrities and everybody that was hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of Tennessee answers. I heard that quite a bit on that, and I'm like, "Ooh, that gets me excited even more." It's my first
Oh,
rodeo this year. I'm ready to go.
think about Ron. You know Ron.
Hmm.
I brought Ron on that trip not only because he's a good friend, but because he was trying to wanting to move to Tennessee after he retired from the fire department there in Michigan. And I said, good, just use this as an opportunity to, and we were driving around from turkey property to turkey property. And he's like, stop, stop, stop. There's a for sale sign. And he's like, and he didn't move like really that far from that area, ended up moving. And his first year down there, a couple years ago, he killed like all of his birds. He shot all his birds on the WMAs or whatever they call those down there.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, and Ron, with the first year I met Ron, 2020, that was the first time he'd ever turkey hunted. He'd shot his first turkey then. And, so I mean, um, it is, people who you don't have to be this will stir the pot a little bit probably, but, you don't have to be a stage caller to turkey hunt.
Absolutely not.
All right, and I'll just leave it at that. You know, you can learn how to turkey hunt,
Hmm.
and I've they're the dumbest yet smartest birds in the world.
Right.
And I mean we used to go make weird noises when I was in Maine just to make them gobble, just to say, like, that's the bird we're chasing, but yet how do we get close to these suckers?
Right.
And you know they're fun to kill, that's for sure. I do like that 49 guy. That's a good feat to get on. But
Yeah,
one
for
day I'm
sure.
one day I'm gonna do a Grand Slam here in the next few years. I'll plan it out. I have filmed the hunt, an Osceola hunt. I filmed Matt Jennings of the game. I filmed him killing Osceola a few years ago. I think it was 2021 or two, and yeah, maybe that was 2022. And that was fun. That was quick, and that was a quick morning. I mean, one sit, and we got close, and somebody shot a bird off that was my first experience with Osceolas, and we just had some good guides too. Those kids were good.
Hmm.
But I filmed an Osceola kill, and I was like, yeah, I got to do this too.
All right.
So I'll do a Grand Slam, not a World Slam. I'll just do a Grand Slam one day.
Hmm.
But I want to do it with somebody. I don't want to just Grand Slam by myself. I want to literally do it with somebody. And every slam is going to be a mount that's a different, unique species. And I'm going to do it just like this mount right here. Only I'm going to do it on a cedar tree, and I'm going to
Hmm.
have it in my house. I got 10-foot ceilings, and it's going to go from
Nice.
ceiling to floor. And on each limb, I'm going to have one bird. I'm going to add the bird for that. for that slam. So the
I'm doing
Rio
something. I'm
something
doing
like that.
something kind of similar. And I said I wasn't going to start doing it because I've killed a bunch of turkeys.
Yeah.
But like as far as my man cave really getting a build up down here, I want to do a full strut from each species on top of. I got some whiskey barrels
Yeah.
down here in my man cave. Have them
Yep.
full strut up on the whiskey barrels. I think
Yep.
that'd be pretty slick for a man cave.
Talk to Ron about that. Ron did that, and Ron got that idea, I believe, if I'm getting this right, from Brian Wenzel. And Brian are doing that. Put them on casters. I know that was one thing that they said, so
Mm,
that you can move them just on wheels, and you can just move the barrel around. I
right,
thought that was a cool look too, and
for
put some
sure.
decorations and whatever you call that, and
Hmm.
put some dirt and some arrowheads and different things in the top of the barrel with the turkey. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have the space. This is legit. Probably a 15 foot by 10 foot bedroom with it when my oldest daughter graduated and moved out. I came upstairs and staked a flag in the floor and said, "This is my office now." And so it's just overflow of just whatever I can put in here, bear rugs, and
Hmm.
I don't know what I would do if I kill another deer that I mount, because I don't want to take over the house. My wife is a sweetheart; she lets me do whatever I want, but um, the turkeys just take up a lot of space, man.
Yeah, they do
They
for sure,
really, really do.
and
But
they're
yeah,
pretty expensive too.
it's addicting, and I don't know. I just wherever I can kill them. I filmed kills in Kentucky. Never hunted Kentucky. I filmed kills in Tennessee. Um, I like wherever there's birds want to die. I'll be there to either film it and kill it or whatever. But to me, turkey hunting is a an ev- is an event to do with other people.
Hmm. For sure.
Um, I don't like the turkey hunt by myself now anymore. I don't like to hunt by myself. I get bored. I like to be with other people, so that's why I like to film so much too.
Right.
But the turkey hunting is 100%. That's what we did in Michigan last year, kind of by accident, but then it turned out to be like epic.
Yeah.
Um, that is what I love about that. To me, is the pinnacle of what turkey hunting is about.
Mhm.
Celebrating other people's kills and doing it in a camp like that, and then we'll talk about it later. But like what we do with Nexus, with Blocker and Scentlock, is
Mhm.
with our triple O hunt. Building that camaraderie. Turkey hunting is a great camaraderie sport and hunt, and you can do that. Guys will be like, "Oh, you want to come turkey hunting with me?" Yeah, but now deer hunting, that's reserved for the black label friends. The the people who you know they got your six all the time.
For sure.
But like the turkey hunting, there's I might let some of my people that are like maybe a friend, kind of like sort of a friend, yeah. People share their turkey hunting a lot more than they do other hunts. So
Oh, for sure. But I wanted you to kind of touch on, your filming setup. I've had a lot of people ask me here recently, kind of wanting to get into filming. They may film their deer hunts, but they have never really had a setup for filming turkeys. Talk about how someone can kind of get started and kind of how you run things. I know
yeah,
filming turkeys is a lot different than filming deer.
it is. It's a different mindset. It's really, to be honest with you, besides doing some little self filming back in the day when I was first getting the itch, that turkey hunt at that youth that I told you about, that was the first really professional level, like where I had a nice camera. Those were, late 1990s. The Canon XL1S's, pretty hefty camera, pretty big cameras. They ran little mini DV tapes, and that was my first go with it. And it was sitting in a blind with a tripod. Um, didn't matter how big your camera setup was because you were sitting in a blind. Um, and and I didn't realize what I was missing by getting out of the blind and moving around. So over the years, what I have found to be the most effective is I always tell people the lighter you can go, the better off you're going to be. Because if you're running and gunning, you got stuff hanging and microphones and cables and wires, and you're gonna lose a lot of stuff, and you got to carry that around. And I try to be more tactical, and tactical sometimes means you pack light. I have When I look at a turkey vest, I do not look at it the way normal people that are turkey hunters look at a turkey vest. They come to a turkey vest and they look through it and they go, "Oh, I can put 3 slate calls here and I can put my box call here." And I look at a turkey vest and say, "Where can I put a couple of calls? And then where can I put my extra microphones, my batteries?" Because the turkey vest for me is where I put all my extra batteries. I don't carry a camera bag because it's just one more thing. It's just gonna it's gonna slow you down.
For sure.
It will slow you down. So go light. Audio is key with any video. You know, I've seen professional videos and it's like, okay, good. That was very cinematic. And I've seen kind of not so professional videos, but had like really good audio, and a third, a third, a third.
Mm-hmm.
Your audio, your visual, it's you gotta have you gotta have that audio there. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So go big on your audio. Go as big on your almost as big on your audio as you do on your video. And then I didn't do that at the beginning, so I had to kind of catch up a little bit with my audio.
Mm-hmm.
So audio, you got a decent little whatever you guys are shooting, those little handy cams, those G40s and G50s. Those are the perfect cameras for running and gunning.
For sure.
I've got big cinema camera. I don't bring that thing to the turkey woods. I just put my, I just put my little A7S3 with a 70 to 200 lens and got audio on it, and I put that thing on a stake. Fourth arrow makes a stake. Um, it's
Was it
actually
called the spot and stock? I think.
well, I don't know what exactly they call it, but they got a stake. They got a beefy stake, but you get the stake and you can get the monopod and you can get the stake system separately. And I think it's like $19, and it's a 7, 8 inch, 9 inch spike,
Yeah.
and it screws into the bottom, and it's got a little leveling part on it, some little wings is what I call them, and you screw that in the bottom 3/8 in the bottom of any monopod, but I use theirs because it's beefy and it's light.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got the right terrain, you can stake that camera in the ground, and it'll hold a lighter camera like the G40s, the G50s. It holds my setup pretty decently. Now
Mm-hmm.
you get into rocky ground and stuff like that. That's when it's like but it's if you're running and gunning and you can just take that little camera and you can just stake that right in the ground. It just saves you then the tripod. You got to put the legs out. They might not be even, and
Yeah.
if you're on uneven ground and you're kind of I've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good little setup. I've actually got two of them because I break things and wear things out, and I've gotten into ground that I'm like trying to jam that stake in the ground, and I got a little too powerful on it, and I mean when I say powerful, I wasn't thinking like, okay, yeah, this is like a little dry ground, it's not going to go in, and I broke them. So I've got a couple of backups now because I like them that much,
Mm-hmm.
and they really do work. So that's one option I have. If I blind hunt, I know I'm going to be sitting in a blind because it's a rainy day or a rainy morning, or I know it's somebody that's going to bow hunt, or it's a kid, a youth, that's not ready to be out of the blind. Tripod that sucker all day long,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no problem with that. Putting it on there, and because usually I'm helping call or get the kid on the especially because I'm hunting the most with my daughter right now, my youngest, getting there on the gun and stuff. This year was fun because her next move was to be able to handle the gun on her own, and we trained and we trained and we trained, and she did. She shot her turkey this year at Triple O, and she did it without mine or her big brother's assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And I had him on camera, and I was really just calling and just keeping track of her and running the GoPro, and she handled it hard, and it was a tough bird. So he came running in, he hit the decoys, and he was going to run out, and she shot him on the way out, like moving, and she did it without my assistance. So that was big, but I could do that because I had it on a tripod, or because I'm not always going to have a cameraman.
Right.
My family likes to film, so I've got somebody to pick from or more. But yeah, the monopod is with the stake system is you can find it on the Fourth Arrow's website. It's the way to go.
Do you use
Um,
anything to like camo your camera
oh yeah,
in?
good thing, good question. I do just any kind of 3D like you can buy the. I used to have the cheap chintzy. It would last me a season or two, and you can buy it in the hunting department at Walmart or wherever. And it's just like you would wrap it around a blind, but it's like the 3D kind of leafy stuff.
Right.
And I would just make a hole in it where I could put it over my lens, and then when I'm sitting, I cover it up because turkeys see everything. They
Yeah.
see glares. I mean, so you got to be careful. The sun's glaring off of your front of your camera. I mean, you're going to spook a turkey. You can go out and yell like a gorilla and get them to gobble, but if they're coming in there and you blink your eye wrong, they're gone. So yeah, you got to cover that stuff up.
I think
I
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think I bought mine at like an army surplus store. It's like a
Oh,
netting, almost like something they use for like snipers or something.
does it have
And
strings and ropes that keep it together?
yes,
Okay,
and
so
then I just cut like a square hole in it, and I just bring it over top of my lens
that's how you do it.
protector.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say is that the other stuff is not gonna last you long. It's catching briars and ripping and shredding, and it's gone. And I was at Triple O year before last. And Brian, our Marine Corps guy from Crimson Trail, he had some stuff from the Corps, and it was he's like, I got it. Here, get rid of that crap, and here, try this out. And he gave me a good slice of um, that stuff from the Corps that they, and I just did the same thing. I cut a little square out and I put it up over so I could put it up over my lens, and then
Hmm.
I could just sometimes I will pin it up in trees or put it on a branch if I'm sitting on the ground. And
Hmm.
other times I'll literally just wrap it around me. But yeah, you got to have that concealment, or you're gonna get busted. So
For
if you're
sure.
just filming, but I've used the little pop up things in the past, and then it's just another thing that's just gonna you got to get out and stake. And now my filming tends to be more running and gunning. So yeah, and if I'm just filming, I'll have one, maybe two mouth calls in my mouth or in my on my vest, and that's it. I just strip it all down, and I just my vest is on, but it's full of all my camera equipment. My GoPros. I don't use I like the point of view cameras to a point.
Hmm.
I know guys that use them as their primary cameras.
Not
That's not my primary camera. That's not the
same.
purpose of a point of view camera like your GoPros, your Tacticams. And I've actually got a new one. I got it right here. Insta 360 Ace Pro. I'm selling my GoPros. If you want a GoPro, I'm selling my GoPros. And I got the Insta 360, and I like that. It's got the little pop up thing here where
Yeah.
you can adjust that so you can see what you're filming.
Yeah,
But
those are nice.
I like these. I used to stick them in. If I have multiple GoPros, I used to always try to put one in my decoys. But with the GoPros, it was just like remembering to turn it on when the turkeys are coming in, and it
Yeah.
would just become a hassle. But I like this. I'll gooseneck arm it.
Yeah.
Different unique locations around to try to get some different angles. I can do that more with turkey hunting. Not I don't do it that much with deer hunting, but
I
the
got
turkey
that
hunting.
the GoPro Max 360. I just got it last year for
Yeah,
deer hunting, so it's my first go around with it. But I did the same thing with deer hunting. I clipped it to the little gooseneck thing, hang it on my
yep,
bow hook or whatever, face it to me. I
yep,
have the little the remote on my wrist. All I have to do is hit that one, and
yep.
it'll pop right on, which is nice. I haven't really done a second angle for turkeys. I need to, but a lot of my turkey kills have all been self filmed. So running two different cameras, trying to keep my gun level and not
Yeah.
blow it all up, it can
No,
be pretty difficult.
yeah, and we're in that world where everybody wants to film now, and it's great. It's accessible. I'll tell you one thing that I'm going to do, and I've been talking about it for years with a friend of mine from the Michigan Whitetail Pursuit, Bobby Roop. Shout out to Roop from Michigan, and we, we're kind of we were chatting one day at ATA about how everybody said, well, you got to have this cinema camera and then this cinema camera, and I feel like in the actual hunting industry, the filming, that we're getting everything kind of cattywampus backwards, where we were forgetting the basics of be cinematic, learn how to tell a story through that camera. Um, and I use that word cinematic almost kind of like trying not to be sarcastic about it, but it used to be a great term, but it's been so overused. But
Hmm.
like they were, if you didn't have this, cinema camera, you were gonna. And so guys are buying this, buying the FX6. Well, I don't know how to run the thing. They don't really know how to run the wheels off of it. And you got to learn somehow. But then they think that camera is going to make them look really good, and yeah, no. So our goal was to in 2019 we talked about this, and the fourth arrow booth with witnesses that I was gonna come up to Michigan and we were gonna film an entire turkey hunt just 100% with cell phones, and we were gonna do it because he was doing some stuff and I was doing some stuff, but he was producing some stuff. Remember one he did with like him going out to his stand, and it was pretty cinematic, drawing his bow and everything. Edited it, color, corrected everything, and the way he used slow mo lightly, and he did some different, focal lengths, wides and tights and mediums were all in there. And if he wouldn't have put all filmed with an iPhone, nobody would have ever. They would have thought he would have had, at least a DSLR or mirrorless camera that with a decent piece of glass on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 2018. And so, I can create distance and composition with my iPhone today, my 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do that. And we're
That's
going
pretty
to
cool. I
at
mean,
the very end say all filmed with an iPhone. And I might not do it with Bobby, but I'm going to do it with somebody this year. One of my turkey hunts is going to be 100% produced. You've heard it here first or second on an iPhone or multiple iPhones. I've got 2 iPhones on my shelf here that I've retired. I don't use them anymore, but they still film. And I'm going to do different angles. And I didn't get in the full draw film tour this year. I was kind of disappointed in that, but some pretty stiff competition.
mm-hmm.
I always put into that in the Badlands Film Festival because I like to be a part of that. That's something I desire to help me sharpen my video skills. But I'm proud of my son Anton. He did a lot of self filming this year, and his primary angle was with his iPhone, and he had the fourth arrow set up for that, the lightweight one, and then I gave him a GoPro that we hooked up to really some good with the Rode wireless GoPro Go 2s.
Mm-hmm.
We had great audio, and then I filmed him about 5 or 6 times this year. Not to digress into deer, but
Mm-hmm.
just to tell the story. I edited the film that I put in to try to get into Badlands into full draw. Um, Probably 90% of that footage is the iPhone and the GoPro.
That's awesome. So what are you
Yeah.
keeping? Say I'm interested in this,
Yeah.
wanting to film a turkey hunt with your phone.
Yeah.
How exactly is there a tripod that you would have for that
Yeah,
phone?
I mean, you can set up a. I was looking for my mount here, but I know it's in my truck because the live that I did today,
Mm-hmm.
after I frost seeded my Piper's plot,
Mm-hmm.
I had it in my truck, and there's that. I'll just use this, and I had a tripod in there. Actually, I had a light stand in there that had a quarter 20 on the top, and the GoPro sells them. Gobi sells them. There's not GoPro, Fourth Arrow, and you can attach your phone to it and then just grip your phone, and then it'll attach to a quarter 20, which is that's standard for most video stuff or 3/8 or whatever you need,
I say
and
I'll
you can
join
use
you.
that.
I'll
I'm just
join you on this iPhone thing. I say I know when we go to we'll talk about it in just a second because it's going to tie into that. But Triple O, when we go down there, we should film a bunch of stuff on an iPhone and kind of collaborate and throw something together.
we could do that because it would take that collaboration, and I'm going to figure out how to do it with multiple phones.
Mm-hmm.
And again, audio is a big thing with a lot of this too. And I know how to, and I've got the mic systems. I've got the DJIs, and I've got the Rhodes wireless mics and stuff where I can record great audio to a lav that I'll just have to sync into, I'll have to sync it with, or I can also plug those into my phone and just
Mm-hmm.
record that quality audio through that, not using the audio ports on an iPhone
Mm-hmm.
and or the mic systems on an iPhone because it's going to be canny, it's going to sound different. And turkeys are really, to me, audio is so big because I like to get that all the forest waking up in the morning, and then you get those gobbles. You want to get that good. So that's kind of what we're kind of doing with that. And so I think after my son's doing that, and I edited that, and I filmed some of that film footage with my big cameras. When I was filming him, like 4 or 5 times. But like all of the kills and all the animals, 90% of the deer and everything on that video, and I'll be showing that. I'll be kicking that out as an episode here for Crimson Trail. And we're getting ready to kick our deer stuff out from this past year to
Awesome.
finalize our season 6. We do that. We start off with our turkey season. We do things a little backwards, and then
Mm-hmm.
we do our deer. And so if it didn't make the film fest, it was going to be an episode. It didn't make the film fest, so you'll see that. And I mean, like I'm gonna put that in there. Like I'm gonna put that in writing, in font on that video that 80% of this is filmed with an iPhone.
That's
And some people wouldn't be proud of that. I would be freaking proud of that. And so that's why I'm going to go all go. all iPhone. I'm not going to have any big cameras out. My FX3 will not be out. My A7S3 will not be out. Um, Probably won't even use my Insta360, my GoPro, because this is good footage too. The
Yeah.
iPhone is too, but I mean, like everything, B-roll, the storyline, the interviews, everything is going to be done with an iPhone, and you're not going to know it at the end until the end of the film when it says when I put that up on the screen that, oh, by the way, all of you people who think that you got to have an FX6 or an FX3 or an A7 III or an A7 III or a Canon G95,000 or whatever you think you got to have, and you got to be whatever you got to be in this competitive world of whatever that you're a world that's a hobby you're not going to make money off of.
Right.
I make a living off of filming
Right.
weddings,
Right.
not
All
hunting,
right.
sorry, but they have fun with it. And so kind of to just show the common dudes like us and how I started, guess what? You got an iPhone, why don't you run the wheels off of that? You
Yeah.
know?
No
And
kidding.
and so we'll do that. And if you want to collaborate with that, man, I'm all about that.
Yeah,
And
I'd
if it,
definitely be
if it
down for
doesn't
that.
happen good for us at Triple O, honestly, by the time we get to our Michigan turkey camp, I'll be probably about ready to just drop the big camera anyways, and do that where it's like literally just filming an entire hunt. You
Hmm.
could do it self filming. You could really do it pretty easily. But I'm gonna produce something with that. So I didn't plan on talking about that for so long, but I mean, I'm passionate about that, and I get fed up with somehow when people kind of get snobby about their cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but it can be done, man, and it will be done,
We'll show
and
them.
we'll show them.
You know, I want to talk about Triple O. I wasn't planning on going to it. I wanted to go down there and hang out with everybody, but Indiana season with us living in Indiana, I kind of already had some other places that I was wanting to go, and then Ryan hit me up and say, "Hey, I'm going to the ambassador hunt. Will you come film me and guide?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Let me
Yeah,
look at my calendar. I'll mark everything out. I'll go with you because I want to meet everybody. I've already met Ron, but hang out with Ron and Nico and whoever else is going to be. I'm not even sure all the names that are going to be there, but I'm ready to have fun with everybody."
we've got a lot of So triple O is the first time I went there. I went with a friend of mine, Josh Hagerman, and Josh actually ran he was the lead who actually helped start the ambassador program for Nexus.
Hmm.
He and Nick Andrews, and then when he kicked that off for him, me and Josh called me one day, and he's like, and I had gone to Tennessee with him first, but it was just to film him, and when we got back from that, he was like, because that was early, that was March, we were down there March 31st to like April 3rd or 4th. Well, we got into April, and he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, well, I talked to this guy at the Indiana Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl show, and we did some horse trading, and he goes, I've got 2 turkey tags here. Have you killed your turkey? And if not, if you have, would you come film me down here?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't killed my turkey yet, but yeah, I'll come down there and I'll film you. If you kill first, great. If I don't get a chance to kill, I don't. It doesn't matter to me."
Hmm.
And we doubled. We go down
That's awesome.
there. I meet Blake, and we doubled. And I was like, wow, okay. And Blake wasn't really into, like guiding turkeys or turkey hunting. And there was a ton of turkeys down there. It's in Madison, Jefferson County.
Hmm.
There's tons of turkeys down there. And he saw that. And I was just like sitting in a tree stand filming Josh up there one day in early October, because we did that turkey hunt. And we just became instant friends with Blake and Brent and all of the guys, all the people at Triple O, and Dale and Amy, and you just name it, everybody there. And so we were sitting in a tree stand. I was filming him. We would go down there on weekends. That's how addicted to this place we were. And he was hunting and I was filming. And I said, man, it'd be cool if we did something like had a turkey hunt or had a deer hunt or a turkey hunt, like we did, and do it for our ambassador for the leads that we had at the time for the ambassadors. And there were probably 7 of us. And I'm like, that'd be a nice little group, we could all get to know each other and the team building and stuff like that. And then he passed that up the chain, and it went to Nick Andrews, and Nick was marketing guy at the time. It came back down the chain to me, and it was like open to ambassadors. He was bringing in Nate Hosey. I mean, it was going to
Really?
be a big deal. And we had so we talked to Blake about it. Blake's like, yeah, let's do this. Cause he wasn't guiding turkey hunts. Then a few friends might come down or whatever and turkey hunt at all of his properties or the proving grounds. So they're like, yeah, this will be great. Let's give us something to do in the spring. We'll do that. That was 2020. We had, I think we had altogether, I think we had like 50 people or so signed up to come. And we were going to surprise them with Nate Hosey and 2020, and they had just started locking down about this time here, in a couple of weeks, and people didn't know what to do, and people were freaking out. And we roll around to our turkey hunt in April, and like, are we going to do this? And we just said, you know what? Triple was like, we're keeping the doors open. If you want to come, come. If you don't, and we have people coming from all over the U.S., Texas, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the South, Alabama, everywhere. So we just said, come if you come, if you don't. And Blake said, I will keep your deposits for next year and just push it forward to next year. We had about 18, 19 people show up. Brother, we had so much just genuine camaraderie and fun. We had people who had never seen a turkey in the wild. They just wanted to kill one. And we had people who they could shoot a turkey and call a turkey, blindfolded, earplugs in, with their hands tied behind their back. They go make it happen. And so these guys all come together, and we just this hodgepodge of people coming in, and but being, we had guys shooting turkeys the first day, and they're like, "I ain't done. You ain't never caught a turkey before, bro? Let's go, Blake. Give us a property, give us a pin. Let's go." And this experienced hunter was grabbing this guy or this gal who'd never shot a turkey before, dragging them out, and then they were killing a turkey. And it was just built such a bond amongst us that I'm like, wow, we couldn't make this up. And that was the first annual, and we're getting ready to go to the 5th annual ambassador turkey hunt. And it's changed a little bit because now Blake has seen that I got a lot of people who want to come down here. I'll charge them to turkey hunt, and he wasn't charging them much. So we get a week after the season. You get the first week is full paying clients, and then we come in. But it gives us everything we want. There's plenty of space. There's, plenty of places to turkey hunt. But, it's great team building and experience. You'll have a blast, and I can't wait for it. And we use it as just a tool in our arsenal to bring people together who otherwise not come. But there's you haven't experienced this yet, but I'm seeing a trend now over the last 2 years especially, since Blocker has been at NWTF when we launched the finisher series last year at NWTF. Is we have a lot of ambassadors that are going to NWTF from everywhere, and we're trying to gather. And I bet we had 45 to 50 ambassadors, and everybody's just running all kinds of different ways. They had 71,000+ people at the NWTF this year, busted their records from last year. I think they were 64,000. And so you can imagine trying to herd cats, and people are working other company booths, and people are just coming to go. I mean, just trying to get everybody together. It was just a nightmare. But that is a big event, and then slide that into come to Triple O and just carry that camaraderie from running around NWTF to actually getting out in the field and turkey hunting and fellowshipping and breaking bread with each other. And that's what it's all about for me. So I can't really say that I didn't really. The idea was really, when I started that, was to Josh, and it was to just do it for our leads. And it turned into what it is. I didn't think that far down the road, but when it came back down the chain and it was that way, I was like, okay. I was just trying to be modest about it, but if you guys want to go big like that, I'm all about it. So yeah, that's how that worked out. And so we have a good time with it. And I wore Scentlock all last year because all of the finisher series and my size sold out so quickly in the bottomlands. So this year, as soon as they dropped the green leaf parts in those light pants, I got it before NWTF because and we sold out of a lot of sizes of the stuff that we brought to NWTF. But green leaf sold 3 to 1, sold 3 green leaf in whatever to 1 bottomland. So like I said in the live today, just to our ambassadors,
well, that's why I wore that just on purpose today.
Is the tactical kids killing turkeys pattern this year. But yeah, I like it. It's good. But the Finisher series is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty amazing product line. It's been highly improved upon, and it's just going to get better and better. And I'm really super proud and excited to be a part of Nexus during these during new product releases like that, where they launched it last year and got into NWTF with it. And it's tough to get booth space at NWTF, and then this year we were a little bit more prepared, and it just exploded. You
How
couldn't
was it?
breathe.
How was it received by the public?
Oh,
I mean, was it just flying off like hotcakes?
what I really loved was last year. I don't think people, and we weren't ready for it. We didn't know. Now, for a year under our belt, like, okay, we could have put a little bit more, made a little bit more connection of this is actually part of Blocker Outdoors, or the original Scent Blocker. And then people weren't making that connection. But because of our ambassadors, because of the marketing department, I should say, and then our ambassadors kicking in as well, um, the marketing and the brand ambassador promotional stuff, um, people had that connection. And I had a lot of people that when the times that I was in the booth working, man, I saw this on Facebook the other day, and I just had to get in here and get it. And that light pant was a big hit. The original Finisher series stuff is high quality product. It's not cheap. It's not chintzy material. I mean, it's well put together.
Mm-hmm.
But the light pant was a big hit. I know that. I love the little finisher gloves where you can cut off um,
Yeah.
the finger and the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I do that with the Scentlock gloves that are made for that. I forget the name is escaping me what we call that glove, but they did the same thing, where they sew that in, that seam around it, and then you can
Yeah.
cut. It doesn't frazzle. I mean that, and the lightweight face mask, and I mean, if it was in, I mean, people were coming in just whole suits and throw a vest on too while you're at it. So, that was pretty good, and that was just year two at the NWTF.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the wheels are. We're excited about the 2024 things that have just launched. The marketing, the forward thinkers back at Nexus headquarters in Muskegon, they're already planning. They're already working on 2025 and 20 and beyond stuff.
I
Um,
guarantee it.
yeah, no,
They do well with it.
I know they are. I mean, there's already things that are in the wheels in the making. So they've launched all this stuff. Good, their job's done. Now it'll sell itself. They're moving on to the next stuff. So I can't wait to see what else comes out. But it was great camaraderie just with our ambassadors at NWTF. So I'm seeing the trend being for we Nexus ambassadors now, starting off, at NWTF, pumping the prime and pump, and then let's go to Triple O, and or let's. I mean, I see so many of our ambassadors that are, hey, well, let's go here and hunt this public land. Oh, you guys are down here, and oh man, let's get together and let's go do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was my dream from the day that Josh Hagerman asked me to be the content lead for the brand ambassador program for Nexus Outdoors, and I was just an ambassador. And when he asked me to do that, and I started, thinking about that stuff, I'm like, oh man, I had no idea we could do. Okay, Triple O, and now I just see the camaraderie of bringing people together, and so we just have such a great team, we have such great ambassadors. So, throw a plug. I mean, we're not just looking for warm bodies. We want high quality H2O.
Yeah,
And
I love seeing everybody's original content when it
yeah,
came to putting the finisher stuff out. You had
uh,
people doing unboxings on everything finisher. You had people just put every kind of their spin on things and make it a touch their own, and that was kind of fun to see, not only on Facebook and everywhere else that they were doing it, but then they would, if I didn't happen to see it, they would post it in like our private group, and I was able to see it there. Like, man, this is badass. I like what you're doing here.
I made a little thank you video too, and I had been planning this for quite a few months, and I had asked all of you guys for give me your hero shots for 2023. Everything that you shot, I don't care what it was. If it was legally shot, give me your hero shot. Um, and I made a little reel that was, I think, 34, 5, 6 seconds. And I ripped through 150 pictures, and I just gave a paid homage to our ambassadors that that put the brand out there. They live the lifestyle. They live this brand,
Mm-hmm.
And they've made this, a part of their DNA. And I put that out there, and I, just kind of did a little test. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm posting it on my personal page, and I just said, share this. As we sit right here, I checked it the other day. It immediately went to like 11,000 views, and it was sitting around 14 or 15,000, right around NWTF. I haven't checked it since.
Mm-hmm.
Views, just because people were sharing it. And I did that, and then I shared those numbers with our ambassadors to say, this is the reach you have, and organic reach is great. Like our marketing department, Steve has built in a dream team marketing crew there, with Steve and Craig and Miles and others there, that they can do these things in house, and they put out some, like, it's high end, it's professional, and sharing that stuff is an honor. It's a badge of honor for me to share stuff that they have created. But I feel like the rubber meets the road on the social platforms when Brett Morris makes his own style of a reel and promotes a product, because the people who are your friends in your little sphere of influence, uh, they they know you, and if
Mm-hmm.
you share something that's, that's just an advertisement, they're probably going to swipe quicker than, and it can be high quality. People put blood, sweat, and tears into it. But oh, what did Brett do here? And that gets more reach than people realize. And that was what I was trying to show. Like I could have put more touch into that, and I made it, pretty as high quality as I was willing to do at that point. Spending like a half an hour on it, or maybe an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have really polished it even more, but I wanted to have that kind of a raw feel to it, because I wanted to show the ambassadors that, hey, look at when we share each other's stuff and when we come around each other, look at the kind of reach we get. Like, like when we're promoting, and then go to NWTF, and people are coming in the booth, and I had it multiple times. Hey, I saw this on, I saw this on my Facebook, or I saw this on, whatever, and TikTok or whatever. And that's what they were saying. They were, like, that's what they saw it. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, it's there. It's there to, I just think that reach is so strong when it's Brett's content,
Mm-hmm.
when it's, Ron's content, or when it's, you know, Zach's content, or Jordan's content, and, and it's just their personal touch to it, that reaches your people more than they realize.
It's even better when everybody you just named all in the clip makes it even better. You know what I mean? And when
And
we're all doing it together, it's not hard to tag you. And
that's it.
I think one of the reels that I did, it's me and you at the back of the truck, and we're high fiving, the music's playing, and it's like, how badass was that? It's just
Yep.
a personal touch, and it's fun,
and,
man.
and it's you, and with social media these days, and with reels and with TikTok, and and all of that going on, short form content is what is the. And I get a little cringed when people get a little cringy with stuff, and they do things just for attention, and they do weird things with their animals and their poses, and just to get attention. So they think they're gonna get um they're gonna get reach with that, but their reach is probably more negative, or a bad taste in their mouth.
Right.
It's cringy stuff that I don't like. But, like, you don't have to be, marketing. You don't have to have a marketing degree to put a reel together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan is one of my best examples of that. And Jordan's a rare guy, because Jordan Brown came in, from another company. I tend to only bring people in that are already kind of semi loyal to the brand, and they've got at least a handful of products, not just, the body soap or something, that we don't really promote. And so, they've got at least a suit or something, or not just a ball cap.
Right.
So Jordan came from another brand. Like, he had to rebuild his wardrobe with Blocker. And I think he kind of felt like, my stuff is kind of, like, bro, it's you. Be you. Now, be you and get better. That's what I mean. I'm trying to get better at my craft.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's always trying to get better. Be you and get better, but always be you.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you're going to reach your people and have
Mm-hmm.
more fun with it. And people are going to see that. So, yeah, I'm always pushing for higher value content with our, what I call a hero shot, a picture with you and the animal that you've just harvested. Quit. being cringy with that stuff
Mm-hmm.
and take a minute. If I shoot a doe, I take a hero shot with that doe. And I mean, I clean the blood off of her, prop her up, do whatever, man. I make it look good. And I get, I do
Mm-hmm.
the best I can, not only to honor that animal, but if you're promoting a product and, you know, make it look good, make it look cool. And that's what I'm always promoting with our ambassadors. And it's just great seeing people take that. I can tell who our creatives are. And they take that and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try that, I'm gonna get better. If you're not a creative, it's okay. That's not a prerequisite to being an ambassador of us, but we're not just a pro staff. We're not just we're not just discount queens and kings looking for discount codes and that's it. I like a discount code too. I'm not a rich man, but we're
Right.
not just running around filling out applications to be a part of 50 different staff. We
Right.
want people to just be a part of a family.
Mm-hmm.
That will promote products, be a part of the family, and it's a lifestyle. That's the only way I can put it. Is it's a lifestyle stuff.
Right.
I'm not a big. I mean, in deer season, I'm not wearing blocker. I'm sorry. Sorry to
Right.
offend you and Jordan and whoever else, Brad. In deer season, this old boy is wearing scent lock. Um, and then the last year I only wore scent lock during turkey season because I had the light suit and I couldn't get to the finisher series quick enough, and I was lackadaisical about it, and I went in to buy the pants, and I got some of the tops, and they didn't have my waist size, and I was like, that was a mistake on my part, and not this year. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we just enjoy both brands, just don't join them both at the same time, unless
Right.
one of them is a base layer. Yeah. So enough rant about the ambassador program. I mean, applications on our websites, and you got to search for it like an Easter egg, but it's there. And if you want to be a part of high quality people that love each other, and we will fight and argue sometimes, but we always have each other's backs. This is it for you. But I mean, we took Brett in. If we could take Brett in, I mean,
Oh, here we
we
go.
slept through the whole Michigan turkey hunt. We pull in. Oh man, I'm not gonna hunt this evening. I'm gonna hunt tonight. Well, I figured out why. He'd had too many bush lattes.
No,
And
actually, I didn't get to hunt. I didn't get to hunt on Friday because my tag that I bought,
that's
I couldn't
right.
even hunt until the next day.
Full disclosure, he would have hunted. But when he found out that he bought the 3-2-1 or whatever
Yeah.
tag, and he couldn't hunt till the next morning, he went to drinking out of his sorrows. But like, gets up in the morning. Sloan puts him on a turkey, basically let it out of the cage, and
Oh,
said, dude, that was an awesome hunt.
that
Shoots
was
this
an awesome
freaking
hunt.
toad of a turkey, walks across the street, and starts drinking. Like by the
Again.
time we started celebrating, like we're coming in, Brett's sleeping in the camper.
No,
So
that was just the first day. You woke Ron up the second time.
we did wake Ron up. We had a good time, man. It was just like that's
It
what it's
was
all
fun.
about. We'll make
For
a camp
sure.
forever, and the plans and the stuff. You're gonna love Triple O. You'll have a good time down there. So,
I'm looking forward to it. I've hunted turkey hunting in Indiana for a long time.
yeah.
And getting to be a part of that, it'd be fun for sure. It wasn't what I was originally planning on doing because with it being in our home state, I was going to be chasing some birds elsewhere. But when the opportunity came up, I was like, yeah, I'm down. It sounds like a blast. I'm all in for sure.
We'll have a great time, and make some good content. That's for sure. We do a lot of that.
Oh,
So
for sure. Well, I'll end it with the question that I've been doing for all my spring thunders this year.
okay.
Tips to a beginner turkey hunter. Maybe they never turkey hunted in their life. Maybe they got 1 or 2 seasons on their belt. What's a tip you got for them?
Whew. Don't use a bow.
Yeah, don't do that.
I would say just find people that turkey hunt and just start asking questions. Start figuring stuff out. That's what I would say. I mean, my biggest example of that is Ron. I was lucky because I was filming people who knew how to turkey hunt, so I had a reason to be there. Ron Howard came onto our ambassador program, didn't know how to turkey hunt. He just started, guys, I'm like, what do I do with this? And he surrounded himself with a handful of people that were willing to show him. Like, oh yeah, don't overcall. That's probably number one because it is an adrenaline dump when you hear that gobble and you're in the woods and it's live, not on a TV.
Right.
It is an adrenaline dump. and you just got, and then we just start. It's a nervous thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's calling, and then so I would say, surround yourself with other people. But my best advice, if you can't surround yourself with other people, do not overcall. That's what I would say. Just fight the temptation. Stick your calls on, sit your butt on your calls, throw it 15 feet from you. Don't overcall, because they will probably come in.
Yeah, definitely. I've had that happen to me a time or two, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here with me again. I know it was only been a little bit since I had you on for deer, but I could not have you on for turkey. We're not only are me and you, 10 miles away from each other, but we're going to be sharing a couple camps this year. So
we will.
I'm looking forward to it.
We will definitely, and I mean, I know we went long on this one, but man, I think it's
don't worry about it.
I honestly, you can tell how much I really do love turkey hunting.
For sure, and I didn't even get to half my stuff.
No, I know.
Which ain't no big deal, it's all
I can't
part
tell
of it.
Use whatever calls you got. I mean, whatever you can get your hands on, just use a call. I don't really care what you use, but I will say this: it's addicting.
For sure, it's
addicting.
It's addicting for sure.
Yep.
But I know it was just a couple episodes you were on, but that you were on. But tell everybody where they can follow you and Crimson Trail and everything. Throw some shout outs out there.
Yeah, Crimson Trail. We are exclusive on Carbon TV, so just download the Carbon TV app on your phone, on your Roku, smart TV, whatever. Search for Crimson Trail. We're exclusive with them. We love that relationship that we have with them. We keep our stuff pretty regular. Our turkey seasons will be edited, within a few months after turkey season, and then we're getting ready to launch our season 6 deer part or big game. And then we start season 7 in the spring. We're on Facebook and Instagram, but we primarily spend most of our time promoting on Facebook. We're old people like that, I guess. But yeah, that's where you find us. But watch us on Carbon TV. We appreciate it.
Yeah, go check it out. You might even see me sleeping in a camper.
You will for the season 6 turkey season. And you'll also see that with the Mid-State Outdoors
and mine.
Whoops, we collaborated. Now you just, we caught Brent sleeping. I didn't even really get to talk to him that much. I mean, just like.
What? It was one night.
This guy's kind of stuck on himself, isn't he?
No,
he's not. We had a good time. You can't beat that camp. That was one of the best.
No, it's the best for sure. But I appreciate everybody listening in podcast land. Hit us with the old rate and review. If you're still on YouTube listening to us or watching us, hit it, like and subscribe. Help our channel get a little bigger. But we'll be back again here next week, episode 78. Not sure of the guest yet, but I'll get it figured out. Go check out the Finisher series from Blocker. New lightweight pants are badass. Can't wait to rock them. We'll see y'all next week.